Hi, this is Em, and today I want to do some experimenting with eco printing and the iron. This is just going to be doing some testing with these different botanicals that I brought in because it's too wet outside to press flowers traditionally, so I thought I'd play around with the iron. If this sounds like something that you might be interested in, please stay tuned. Specifically, I really want to know what these crab apples are going to do. So having said that, I also am going to be using some of the papers that I showcased in the How I All on Paper video that I did I think it was about a week or so ago, that I'll also link down below. So let's get started. I'm going to move these off to the side. I brought in some filler leaves just in case we need them. And I'm going to get some paper. Let's start out with the PACON. You saw that in, like I say, the other video. These are dry. They have been alum, but they're dry. And in order to do this, we need to start wet. So here's my trusty jar. I'm going to get my sponge wet and go ahead and get the paper damp. If at any time I'm taking too long to do something, just fast forward along the timeline, because this might end up being a little bit of a longer video. I'm going to talk about what I'm thinking as I'm doing this. So right now I'm just moistening the paper. Set this off to the side. Excuse me for reaching. And then we'll add, like I say, I really want to see if these will work. So let's do some of these crab apples. Find my fold seam. Okay. Let's go there. I'm going to move this box over this side so I'm not constantly reaching in front of the camera. Let's do another smaller piece. Come in from here. I'd like to know if grape hyacinths will work, so let's put a couple of those in. I've got some maples. Let's see if those work. Put these up top. And then let's put in a couple of these fern-leaf bleeding hearts. See what happens with those. Okay, and see, we got a little blank space there. Let's see let's take a couple of leaves, fern leaves. Excuse me, these aren't fern leaves. These are bleeding heart. These fern leaf bleeding heart leaves. And let's put a couple of them in for some greenery. And I'm trying not to I'm trying to make sure that when I press these, I've got the front and the back of what we're doing without any infringement on the top. So it's more or less just a single layer. And that should be good for now. I'm going to take a little bit of vinegar water. This is vinegar. I'm going to spray that on. This is coffee water. Maybe I'll spray a little of that on. I'm going to put this over. And now the fun begins. I'm actually doing this on my heat press plate because there's a pressing pad. I don't feel like getting out a separate pressing pad for the iron, so we're just going to go with this. And then I've got this larger sheet of Teflon and then this smaller sheet of Teflon. And now we'll put another sheet of Teflon on top, because I always press between two sheets of Teflon. Let's take our iron and go for it. Okay, so I'm going to let it sit there. I'm going to open the back door. It's always a good idea to have some ventilation going through. And try not to breathe any vapors for safety's sake. I have the iron set on wool because I can't remember last season what I did it on. You hear the sizzling? There's some steam going on. Some water starting to drip out. As you can see, I've got paper all around here. I've actually got some more Teflon down underneath the paper, and then on the floor down here where it can roll off and drip, I also have another Teflon sheet and newspaper. It makes cleanup easy, but it does get messy. Okay, let's take a peek. Okay, so the paper's dry, so now I'm going to take some more water. You see how that paper, the white part, how dry it is? Well, you want to keep it moist. I'm standing back away from the steam. So as you can see, I allumed the paper, even though the paper was already allumed, and now I'm using some vinegar water. That helps to set the color. The alum helps to draw the color out. And then I'm going to wet this again and turn it over. I don't turn it over unless it's sticking together enough. Okay, see how we're getting some good color there? That's what you want to see. Color coming through. The one thing about doing the iron, which is why I'm using the iron today, is I just want to test. I might have said that already. I'm just testing, and if I'm happy that the botanical that I'm using will impart color, then I'll do a bigger batch, either in the oven or on the stove or in the heat press or something. So this is just a way to test. Now see how nice that color is getting? Okay. So that gives me hope that something's happening. Spray a little bit more water on that. And like I say, this is in real time, so if you want to move forward to see the result. If you watch it in real time, then you can see how long it takes. And the other thing is, if you're into doing craft with me type things, you can always do your own creations, whatever your medium is, while I do this in the background. It's another idea. Okay, let's peek. My favorite thing to do of all time. I think this is a little bit more we need to do here because of the white, but let's see if we're... And of course, be careful, it's hot. I think we're going to get something. Okay, let's just do right in here where it's still not... Stuff isn't being drawn out up into the paper yet. Okay. Now I'm pressing pretty hard. Okay, let's go ahead and call that good. So how long did that take? About, yeah. Okay. Let's see. We passed the point now. We gotta do it. So now we're gonna brush it off. I thought the crabapple would do well, and the answer is yes, it does really well. I might not even have to rinse this paper, because it's, I think the only thing I want to do is spray a little coffee water on these white spots. Okay. Get a piece of cardboard and bring this up to the camera. Some coffee water on there. So the crab apple went kind of a darkish, what would you call that? It's not a blue, it's kind of a navy dark type blue. And then this was the hyacinth, and the bleeding hearts didn't seem to really do much of anything. And then the maple. Okay, well, that's what I wanted to know about that. Set this off to the side so it can dry. That was the PACON packing paper. This is Canson, what I call the 12 by 15 watercolor paper, cold pressed. Let's do something with that. Get it wet. Want to wet both sides. Okay. Now let's find something that we want to put on here. I want to try this daffodil. And you can see it's spent, but for eco printing, that's fine. So let's go ahead and make that the star of the show, kind of a little bit off center. And then something else I brought in was these tulip petals were falling onto the ground. So let's see if those will impart any color. And because they're so big, I think I will overlay something else that I want to try, which is forget-me-not. Let's put in some of those and see what happens. Put a couple of leaves on there. Some more forget-me-not leaf. Okay, what else do we want? That's probably enough for now. That should give us enough color. Give us a chance to see what it does. All right, so we want vinegar. Let's close it up. It's got a really thick center on it, which would be more in tune for the heat press than the iron, but that's okay. We'll find out what happens. Okay, here we go. Right now I'm not going to press real hard with the iron. I'm just going to let the heat shrink it down. And these are one of those kind of irons that doesn't stay on. And I can't remember if I said this in my other iron video, but I find it quite aggravating. I mean, I realize that we have to have safety concerns in this day and age, but you know, I'm from the old school that when you turned on your iron, it would stay at the temperature that you wanted it at until you were done. And then when you went to use your toaster, the toaster wouldn't take 5 minutes to toast the toast. Maybe I would just have a bad toaster, but my word. But those of you that have been around for a while probably know what I'm talking about. I mean, there's only saving yourself from yourself so far that I like to go. And it becomes kind of a frustration. So yeah, this iron cooled down while I was making this sandwich, and now I gotta wait for it to come back up to temp. It's starting to now. I can hear some sizzling happening. And I can feel that nub on the daffodil shrinking. And when I say this was the Canson watercolor paper, let's see if there's any action going on. The paper's dry. We need to spray it with some more water. Now you can hear the sizzling. Now that the iron's finally back up to temp. And now I'm pressing harder now that the center has gotten softer on the daffodil. That was like a double floret daffodil. I have one other daffodil behind me that I brought in that's more of a traditional single layer. Okay, let's see how's our water doing. Still need some more. And because of that knob, I'm pressing down the knob. Here's the knob. So I'm going to go around the knob and get the flatter parts. Okay. Let's see if we can turn this over. All right. See a little tear in the paper there. I must have not been very gentle. What I do when the steam's rising up is I lower my head below the steam level so I'm not breathing it in. So you can't see me off camera, but I'm actually bending over below the steam level. You know how they tell you there's a fire to get down on your hands and knees so you're below the smoke line. Okay, I see some color coming through. It's always a good sign when you see color coming through on the back side that there's something even better going on the inside. Now I'm starting to press harder. Okay, let's turn it back over one more time. Well, I'll take that back. There's this white area here. I'm going to try to tease just a little bit more. I think I had someone ask me in one of my videos, I don't remember which one, why I don't use the iron with the steam on. There is water in there, but the iron itself isn't steaming. It's because I always sandwich in between Teflon and this other stuff emits more than enough steam. And of course, if I had the steam on, it wouldn't go through the Teflon. So I just use a dry iron and let the olive water and the vinegar and the coffee and all that stuff speak for itself. Oh, I just ripped that out of there. Ooh, something pretty's happening in there. Let's go ahead and put that back on there just 'cause. And turn it over and do this one more time. I think I'll use some coffee water this time. Okay, so we'll just do this much and then we'll be done. I think the iron gives you a good indication of what to expect from certain botanicals, generally or generically speaking. And it's good if you want to get something done and quickly in a pinch on a small scale. But really the oven or the stove or the heat press is the way to go if you're going to be doing more. Because this just takes too long. I like the instant gratification. Okay, that looks pretty saturated with color all the way through. Yeah, all right. Let's take a peek. Hot, hot, hot. So our daffodil really went flat, which is good. These didn't really do much of anything. Well, actually that imparted some good color when I just twisted it all up. Huh. Let's put that back and put the iron down on it for just a second. See if we can tease a little spot of color up there. Okay, I'm not gonna wait too long. Yeah, there, see, we got a little spot of color there now. The forget-me-nots didn't do too much. Not as much as I had hoped, though they did impart a little bit, but not that much. Okay, let's bring this up to the camera. So when we put that piece of tulip on there, the little wad, see, we got that color that wasn't there before. The dahlia just went yellow. I don't think it's all that exciting, but it'll make a good background. And this was more that tulip. And the forget-me-nots didn't do a whole lot. And again, I'm going to take a little coffee water and just let it soak into some of those lighter spots. And then we'll set this back here to dry. All right, we'll do another one. Let's see, what do we, oh, here's one. This is that ivory cardstock. I want to see what it'll do. A little coffee water on. Okay, so we're up to 24 minutes. So we'll probably do this one and maybe one more. I'm trying to keep my videos a little bit shorter because I don't know if people like my videos long or not. If you're a regular to my channel, and thank you very much for all of you that have subscribed, that I really appreciate it. It makes me feel like my efforts are worthwhile and motivates me to make more. But the point is, I just don't know whether people want to watch short videos, because I tend to do long videos when I do them live. All right, what do we want to put on here now? Let's do these grape hyacinths. Let's see if they do anything. All right, let's put 3 of them on. And then I hope these do something, because I think that would be very, very spectacular, but who knows? I do know that these will impart color. These are geraniums. I bought a geranium at the store the other day, and this was the only flower spike on it, but that's okay. I'm willing to sacrifice it. Just to put some spots of color here and there. So now, I love these colors together. This is color blue, and this, especially this kind of, I don't know, this pink, this magenta type pink are actually some of my favorite colors. All right, that's all I had left on there. Okay, let's see what happens. The paper's wet. Let's fold it over. Press it down. A little bit on it. Close it up. Oh, this iron's probably gotten cold by now. Jiggle it a little bit. All right. Good, I hear some sizzling. We won't have to wait for it to heat up. You may have noticed, again, if you've watched any of my videos recently, that I have another camera that I use where I do the video and then I edit it. But truth be told, it just takes so long, whereas doing this live, you just do it and it's up there. However, my phone, which is what I'm using, was having a real, I think it was a codex problem. So I stopped using it for a while, and that's why I started using the other camera. But I did some messing around and some research, and I'm thinking maybe it's not going to have as much issues. It was focusing in and out, just kind of constantly. I don't notice it doing it when I'm watching the screen now, so if it doesn't do it and I can be successful, I'll probably start doing more live ones again. And again, you can always let me know, is live okay? Even though they're longer and unedited. Although this one I did where I put it on inactive. I did the live in an inactive state, not public, so that I could see the quality first, since I haven't used this in a while, as I just mentioned. And then if it looks like the focus is fine and it's not jumping in and out, I'll go ahead and put it public. And once I feel confident that this camera is working again, then I'll just start going public right away, like I used to do once upon a time. Okay. Ooh, look at that. It's pretty hot. I have to hold it up just to show you what I'm seeing. Ooh, hot. Let me get something to put it on. This is what gives me confidence that this is going to be, that those are going to work. Look at that. And that's the back side. So I think we're going to get some good action out of those wild. I'm not sure exactly what the botanical, it's some sort of hyacinth, but I call it wild hyacinth because they multiply freely. I have pink and blue, but the pink isn't blooming yet. They're just starting to come, but they're not open. So I can try the pink later down the line. Okay. I have so much hope for this. I'm going to turn it over one more time and try to coax out. Oh, look at that. Yay! This is what excites me, is when you start seeing something that you think is going to really be cool. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Wow. Well, I have high hopes. Let's see. Ah, okay. 5 stars on the 5 stars for this one. And so you go, okay, is it the hyacinth? Is it the paper? This was that card paper. This was that ivory cardstock. So wow. This is that geranium. It's well, I knew, oops, excuse me, dropped it on the floor. I knew, I think this is that card. Yeah, I think so. I knew that geranium would impart color. They're pretty reliable. I'll probably have to rinse this one though because there's a lot of geranium debris. Look at how beautiful that turned out. Oh, very happy with that. Oh, that's nice because I've got a lot of them in the yard. Okay, well that gave me so much hope. This is the Fabriano cold press watercolor paper. Let's see what that does. All right. Let's get it wet. Both sides. Okay. All right, what do we want to do? Well, we haven't seen, or have we, what these azaleas do. So let's do some azaleas. And I've got pink and red. We'll do them both so we can test them at the same time. And I'm going to scatter them out because in case one color doesn't work, it's not all just conglomerated in one area. Okay. And what else? Oh, kind of short on, oh no, here's some more. I was going to say, I looked like I was short on them. Let me fan it out. But I don't see any more. Here's a little pink piece. And some more of that. Well, you know what? Let's throw, now that we know that these bluebells or whatever they are do so well, let's go ahead and just for some excitement, and let's throw in a couple of these for some, to impart some blue color. Let's do that. Make a little more interest. Fill in some of these smaller areas. Get this little spider out of there. Go. Put it back in the carryall. Okay. Any more places we should have a little bit of blue? All right, that should give us enough color. Okay. Let's put this down. Press down. Spray some vinegar on it. Put our cover on top. And hope the iron didn't come down. This iron's got a Teflon coating on it, which is a good thing because you can see how dirty it gets. But this is the only thing I use it for. I don't do anything else with it except craft, so I don't care, and it wipes off easy. I hope the azalea does something. That would be nice. I'm kind of 50-50 about whether I think it will or not. We'll know when we look at the paper if there's any color being imparted on the back side. That's a good indicator. Not much happening yet. Well, they look pretty washed out. Okay, I'm not feeling hopeful. The pieces of the azalea that are peeking off the paper look pretty washed out already. Alright, let's see. Yeah, I'm not seeing much. Let's turn it over. Well, there's a little bit more going on this side. Okay, what else? Well, let's wait for this. What else is in here that we really need to try? So we determined that the forget-me-not wasn't all that great. These things imparted something if they were all meshed up. Well, oh, here I got this frutillaria that I'm really interested to see if anything happens. Look at how beautiful that is. I think I showed this. Oh, I'm working on a April in the garden video where I show these out in the garden. I don't press them, but I wanted to know if they eco-print, so we'll find out if it imparts anything. And then we determined that these, oh, I know. I brought in where did I put them? We'll do those. Oh, and I've got some pansies. Okay, we'll finish up the session with one more press, and we'll do the ones that we haven't done yet that I wanted to find out about. All right, so that's starting to impart some good color now. At least something is. Okay, where's our coffee? Let's put a little coffee water on there. I'm looking for the domestic bleeding heart. I picked a couple of them. I'm going to do these. Frutillaria. Where'd they go? Oh, here they are. And then I brought in a couple of these domestic bleeding hearts. Although these bleeding hearts didn't do too much, so I'm not feeling overly optimistic. Take a peek. There's more action there now. Do one more squirt. It's kind of dry. Let's see, what paper do we want to do? Oh, we didn't do the sketch paper. Oh, I want to try the sketch paper. Oh, and I didn't do the blotter paper. I didn't do the blotter paper or the sketch paper yet. Maybe we'll put them both down at the same time. Let's do that. So I'm going to do one more pressing. We'll just do them both at the same time. And I'm pressing hard. Okay, let's call that good. Let's see, I don't even remember what we were pressing. Azaleas. Okay. Not much. Okay, I'm not surprised. See if the red ones did anything. Oh, the red ones did really well. Okay, the pink not so much. But look at the red. I'll bring it up to the camera here in a second. All right, red's a winner. As with pressing flowers, and you may have heard me say this in other videos, I tend to repeat myself, that the ones that work the best, that hold their color longest in pressing, and that seem to work the best for eco printing oftentimes, are the ones that are more saturated. And since the red azaleas are a lot more saturated because they're a deeper shade of red than the pink ones. Okay, so what's interesting about the red azaleas, as red tends to do, it goes into this deeper, darker bluish type color. This is the azalea, the reddish. The pinkish is down in the corner, and you can see it didn't do much. And then these blue specks, of course, is the hyacinth. So that's how that turned out. We got a little pink down there in this corner, but not enough to make it, unless you're doing just background and you just want some color, not enough to justify the time to do it. All right, so let me move this paper out of the way more. And okay, this one's blotter paper we'll put on the top, and then this one is that sketch paper. And we'll just alum them both. And again, like I said earlier in the video, these have already been alum, but I alum them again just before I do this to get the paper moist. I haven't noticed that you can over alum. All right, so here we go. Let's see, this one wanted to. Pansies are usually pretty good, so we will go ahead and let the pansies shine through. I think what we'll do is put a pansy on each paper and see if the paper makes a difference. And I thought I had 3 pansies. All right, and then I wanted to try this daffodil. I'm going to take the stem off because I don't both of these papers aren't, neither of these papers are real thick, so I don't want to have something too bulky in there. Let's put this here and have it open face, which means one side is going to get more orange exposed. Here's our bleeding hearts. And then, oh, our fritillaria. I want the fritillaria to get a spot so that we know what it does. So we can tell easily. And then let's do some of these crab apples. My husband just walked in. I'm doing a video eco-printing with an iron to see, testing to see if any of these impart color. And the crab apples did really well. If you like the dark blue, oh, here's another one. This is Grace Ward. Let's see if that imparts any color. There's not a lot of flowers on the Grace Ward yet, but they're starting. So we'll see what that does. And anything else? No. Just put a few more crab apples around for some color. And then anything. We'll use some more of our bluebells since we know those work. These bluebells worked really well. I guess you can go ahead and talk if you want to. Standing there giving me a, I don't know what kind of look that is. All right. I want to see what this fritillaria does. Okay. Some vinegar water. And, all right, there we go. Fold this over. Fold this over. Like my mess. Okay, vinegar water. Although it drives me to distraction when he just sits here and stares at me. We used to have a dog, a Doberman, and he passed away. May he rest in peace. And he used to say it drove him to distraction when it was dinner time and the dog sat between him and the TV and just stared at him. Forced him to get up and go feed him because the dog knew it was time. Right? Bye. Okay, so these will be our last tests of the day. See if we're getting any color. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's spray a little coffee water on. As I mentioned earlier in the video, it's supposed to be sunny out today, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen, and it's actually kind of misty. So hopefully by tomorrow. Okay, let's turn this over. Ooh, look at the can you see the pansy through the paper? Okay, let's do a little more vinegar water over here. My husband's gone now. He just stood there and stared at me. And yes, he really is real. It's not a made-up somebody where I'm talking to myself about it. Hopefully I'm getting the whole thing back here. I think I am. Oh yeah. Okay, let's take a peek. A couple white areas there. Or lighter areas that haven't been saturated yet. So we'll concentrate our efforts on that. Let's see if that helped. Weird. I wonder what's under there. Oh, that's the daffodil, the center of the daffodil. That's what that is. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Let's turn it over one more time. This one looks like it might be really cool. Look at all the color on it. And then we'll turn this one over. I'll press it one more time. Oh, this is the front of the daffodil with the orange, and that part that's still not showing much color, that's the back where you snip the stem off. Okay, I think that's enough to give us an idea. That's it. Let's look. All right. Now the pansy didn't impart as much as I thought it would. Some of them imparted pretty good, but that one didn't. That one didn't. We already knew the crabapple would. That was the bleeding heart. Well, for all the color that was coming through. All right. So I think, oh, that's interesting. Oh, it's a daffodil. Now on this paper, the pansy did better. And what paper did I say this was? I'm going to have to watch my video back to see what papers these were. My short-term memory. This paper did much better. The pansy actually made a better imprint. Everything made a better imprint. But There's not really anything that I'm ecstatic about in these tests except the hyacinth. Okay, let's bring these back up real quick. So that was the pansy on the lower right, a little bit of the crabapple and the daffodil, but there's nothing real defining there and more of a background. This one didn't do anything like I thought it was going to do, and I can't even remember now what paper it was, so I'll have to look at the video back. It didn't really accept the colors well. This was the crabapple. No, I take that back. That was the red azalea. Huh. That's right. Those did good. But the winner for me today was the hyacinth. I just think that's really pretty. They came out good. And I love the tones. See how you have the different tones in there? And this was the crabapple. Excuse me for bumping the camera. Those did very good. And then I'm not enamored with this at all. This was that yellow daffodil placed open face down. So outside of being a background paper, there's nothing overly defining about it. So there you can see some different color papers. And again, I know that sometimes papers make a difference too. So had I done some of these on different paper, like in our last test where we did the pansies and some of the stuff on the two different kinds of paper, definitely got a better imprint using the one paper than the other. So test for yourself, try your different papers, see what you like, make a mess, have fun, and thank you for tuning in, and you have a wonderful day.